Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. We are in Advent season. If you're not sure what that is, I give an explanation on my Facebook page with a post that looks like the Bible study post that you get from Proverbs. Today we light the candle, the purple candle for hope, which I will show you guys later. And it's really the build up to the coming of Christmas, the coming of our Messiah. Advent literally means arrival of the Messiah. So we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV. I know people are still going to be cranky, and we're going to be in the NIV next year too. So they're going to be cranky next year too. But they're going to get happier in 2026 if they are even still here, or if they start coming around minimally. The random strangers who don't actually watch the videos but complain about the version of the Bible probably won't, because we'll be in the KJV. So there'll be that. By then, we should also be starting the comparison language portion of things. So right now, though, we are in the book of Mark. We are in chapter 11, the triumphal entry. Chapter 11, verse 1. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and just as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you doing this?' tell them, 'The Lord needs it and will send it back here shortly.'" Okay. Well, if you're a faithful person and you really believe those kinds of things, then you're going to be like, "Oh, well, then I guess he can borrow it." So everything belongs to the Lord anyway. They went and found the colt outside in the street, tied at a doorway. As they untied it, some people standing there, "What are you doing untying that colt?" They answered as Jesus had told them to, and the people let them go. When they brought the colt to Jesus and threw cloaks over it, he sat on it. People spread their cloaks on the road, while others spread branches they had cut in the fields. Those are palm fronds. So that's why, like in the Catholic Church, they have, you get palms that have been blessed by holy water, and then later you bring them back and they get burnt, and that's Ash Friday. Get the crosses on that. Okay, anyway. Those who went ahead of those who followed shouted, "Hosanna," which is the Hebrew expression save, which is also an exclamation of praise. Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Psalm 118, 25 and 26. I get the blessing of saying that all the time, because that's part of the Eucharist. Blessed is the kingdom of our father David. So blessed is Jerusalem. Hosanna in the highest. Jesus entered Jerusalem and went to the temple. He looked around at everything, but since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. So he went into Jerusalem and he went into the temple, but he didn't stay there very long. Jesus clears the temple. The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing at a distance a fig tree in a leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard him say it. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple area and began driving out those who were buying and selling there. Now, in the book of Matthew, they say that fig tree never grew figs again. Because when Jesus says something's not going to be, or someone's not going to be prosperous, then someone or something is just not going to be prosperous. Now, isn't that a little petty? Because it wasn't the season for figs, so the tree should have, why didn't you tell it to grow you a fig then? Yes, I did just say that. I mean, because he was the Messiah. Instead of telling it, we'll never eat figs from you again, you could have been like, I am hungry, give me a fig. Now, would that be a misuse of power? I think so. Yeah. That's probably why he didn't do it. Because, he is the Messiah. On reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple area and began to drive out those who were buying and selling there. Why? Because they were buying and selling animals to be slaughtered in the temple. So they were making money, because they were putting usury rates on there, on sin. Literally blood money. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. The benches of those selling doves. Not the table with the doves on it. Notice how he didn't hurt the animals. And would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. So obviously he was in a mood. Right? And now, I'm going to be honest here. He is leading to his death, so I could understand why he would be cranky. Right? We normally read this at Easter time. And as he taught them, he said, is it not written, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations? See Isaiah 56:7. But you have made it a den of robbers. D is Jeremiah 7:11. The chief priests and the teachers of the law heard this and began looking for a way to kill him, for they feared him, because the whole crowd was amazed at his teaching. When the evening came, some early manuscripts, he went out of the city. The apostles and Jesus went out of the city. The withered fig tree. Here we go. They just put it in another part. In the morning, as they went along, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots. Peter remembered, and he said to Jesus, Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered. Have, or F, is some early manuscripts, if you have, faith in God, he answered. I tell you the truth. If anyone says to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will happen, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive him, so that your Father in heaven may forgive your sins. G. Some manuscripts say sins as opposed to sin. Okay. The authority of Jesus question. Oh man. So people who want to have authority, who maybe aren't even qualified for authority, because that does frequently happen, will always question the authority of someone who they can feel has natural authority. They have that, I'm going to put them in their place attitude. So, and that's just, there's no love in that. So you don't prosper. The authority of Jesus questioned. Verse 27. They arrived again in Jerusalem, and while Jesus was walking in the temple courts, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders came to him. By what authority are you doing these things? They asked. Who gave you authority to do this? Jesus replied, I will ask you one question. Answer me, and I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. John's baptism, was it from heaven or from men? Tell me. It's a good question. Like, ooh, I know it's for me, it's from heaven. Right? But I'm not trying to scheme. I have no problem with by the authority of God. That's by whose authority? God has the ultimate authority. The rest of us are just have any authority any human has. It's just on loan from him. And he can revoke it whenever he wants. And he will if we act out of character. They discussed it amongst themselves and said, if we say from heaven, he will ask, then why didn't you believe him? But if we say from the people, for everyone held that John really was a prophet. They feared the people, I should say, from men. They feared the people, for everyone held that John really was a prophet. So they don't want the Pharisees are amongst the people, and they don't want to lose the support of the people, because then they lose their power base. So they can't have that. Remember, they're politicians. I mean, don't kid yourself. They call themselves religious leaders, but they're politicians. So they answered Jesus, we don't know. So, okay, that's a valid statement. We don't know. Jesus said, neither will I tell you by what authority I'm doing these things. Right? Because they're not really having an answer. They want the answer they want. But they're not smart enough to outsmart him. So they can't trap him like that. We are always on divine timing, so we do things when he says so, whether we really like it or not. And it's really a matter of, while you're waiting for divine timing, are you going to kick and scream? Or are you going to find something productive to do with your time? I recommend finding something productive to do with your time, but being very consistently productive is one of those things that people in my personal life actually know I'm quite known for. If I know how to do anything, I know how to build. So until a little while from now, friends.